Okay, Darren, there's another message for you. I spent a lot of time crying, hurting, not that you care. And as the title of the live stream goes, it's a question, perhaps a rhetorical question. Are you going to make something bad happen to me again? Because it just seems that everywhere I've been, where you've been, I've dealt with nutcases and dangerous people and people who I don't even know, who reacted as if I'm a dangerous person. So come on, Darren, what are you up to? You're not going to tell me, but you've kind of hinted at it, haven't you, in the voice messages, haven't you? I'm going to have to resort to more robust action. I don't know what I'm going to tell Eben, this, that, and the other. Not responding to what I'm putting in the messages on YouTube, not responding to my pain, not responding to my hurt, not responding to your abuse of me, putting me down, antagonizing me, saying I'm childish. Well, I've got something to say to you, Darren. Because right, I noticed that you said 3 things. You said what the only 3 people who care about me. One of them's an actual person who is alive, Juliet. One of them is dead, my mother, the only person who ever loved me, and I've got no one else. The other one, my Heavenly Father. 3 people. And you did it with all of them. What would Juliet think? What would your mother think? What would Yahweh think? That's what you said to me. What would my Heavenly Father think? Well, I know what each of them think. One of them, I can tell you in a text what she said. And I'm sorry, Juliet. Please forgive me. I don't want to drag you into this, but I hope you don't think I'm doing that. I know you don't. Which is why you've affirmed me the way you have, and why I feel safe with you, because I wouldn't do this with anyone else unless I felt safe with you, and I do. Obviously, that goes without saying. Well, I can tell you what Juliet's text is, but isn't it interesting how you just... It was Juliet who said, I wonder what your mother would think. And you were saying to me, what does Juliet think? Gaslighting me, trying to make me think that you've been speaking to her or something. Yet you were encouraging me to speak to her to begin with, because you knew about my anxiety. You know me through and through, because I've told you about myself inside out. But as Gurmit said, he won't tell you anything. No, you don't tell me anything. But you're not behaving. You're doing the work of the devil. You haven't done the work. You done exactly the work of what the devil does. You and your mum have lied to me. We nearly moved in together. Oh, it's like he was sent to you, and you could have a good life together, and then I'm not invited to the wedding, and you're telling me they're saying, is the relationship over? You were at your sister's wedding. I wasn't there. I was sleeping rough. You'd had your use of me. You know, karma is real. There are many words for it, though. You've made me want to kill myself, because I'm not like other women. I'm not like And Juliet, I had to explain, because you might think I'm extremely neurotic, but I'm not like anyone else. Other women have said to me, "I will leave him." Being in a relationship is dangerous for me because I can't handle the pain. Well, what I really mean to say is I can't handle being used. My godmother said, "Why is he with you unless it's to use you?" In other words, the only reason why anyone wants to be with you, Bryony, is to use you. And I do all the kind, she said, "You're a kind person." I do kind things. I do loving things from the heart. Everything I do is from the heart, and you know that. You just won't. You remind me of my middle sister, because it's interesting. You sound like you said something similar to your brother, didn't you? Almost identical, actually. You treated your brother the way my middle sister treated me when I was little. Yeah, physical bullying, because that's what older siblings do to the little ones. Yeah, but you said to your brother, when you were adults, when about his divorce, you said, "You've offended our Heavenly Father." Well, it's kind of similar to what you've said to me then, isn't it? I wonder what your Heavenly Father would think of you doing this. I know exactly what he thinks, because I am the one who's crying my guts out right now, and you, I suppose, just like when you watched that live stream of me being attacked, you might as well have got a bowl of popcorn, and all you could say to me was, "Well, I didn't watch it live." I don't care. Even if you didn't watch it live in the early hours, you watched me being attacked on YouTube, but you didn't say, "You okay, Bryony?" Dear God, Julia is a woman and a member of the public. I was crying out to a member of the public to help me. Help! Help! In my dressing gown. She did help me. And the man and the woman up the road who took me in overnight, she said, Cheryl, she said, "Where's your partner in all of this?" Yeah, everyone says the same thing. Where's Darren in all of this? No, but no. Sorry, Darren. As you say in the voice messages, I'll stop making these live streams. It's childish. Yeah, my pain of what you've done to me is childish. So you'll go to prison, and I expect you'd make yourself look all sweet and innocent the way you do, don't you? Juliet, no, forgive me, Juliet, for saying this. I'm trying not to be personal about you. Let's just say she knows what it's like, without using the labels. She's been there herself. But because you're not like other men, in the same way I'm not like other women, I've always seen you as special and different, unique, gentle, extra. That's something I wouldn't just go with any man. I'm not like that. I have to share my heart with someone. But you're the one who encouraged me to speak to Juliet. She's your friend, Bryony, months ago, and I admitted to her on the phone the other night. I said, it was actually Darren who I'm confused, because he was encouraging me to speak to you. You've got a friend, Bryony. Now I've opened up to her. I rang her in the early hours on a few occasions in distress. So I went from not being able to pick up the phone which you know about, but then you tell people I don't pick up the phone. And you say one thing and then you say another. You're gaslighting. She knows what it's like. She's been there. Juliet has been there. She doesn't pick up the phone. You know, it's PTSD. It's all or nothing. She's been there herself. You know, like I said in the other live stream message to you, one of the other messages to you, I said, well, about that girl that was crying. Her partner had just shouted at her and she was slumped down crying. And he was screaming at her and she was crying. And you've done that to me yourself. And all you could do is bend down to her and say, is he okay? And I was so embarrassed. My heart was bleeding for her. She was very young. She was a nurse. She had a little boy. So she had to work hard and be a mother and deal with an idiot. And you started doing the same to me. So many women kill themselves. That is why the police who took me down from Beachy Head, they know, those foreign police officers, before I was put through 24 hours of torture at A&E a few weeks ago before you were arrested here. They said, yeah, so it's now a prison sentence in the UK, up to 5 years in prison because of how bad it gets and the wake of destruction and the pain. The pain is so intense that death would be less. You've made me want to kill myself, Darren. You've hurt me so badly. And then you make it look like attention seeking or I'm a crazy and all that rubbish. That's coercive control, and it's taken very seriously by the law now, and quite rightly so. But the thing that hurts me is not the fact that you don't care. It's not the fact that you don't see it as a crime when it is a crime. It's the fact that you don't care, that you've hurt me. It's the fact that you don't care. And this is a voice message, not voice message, text message. Because I text Juliet, I said, is it me? Am I the monster? When I know damn well I'm not. But this is the gaslighting process that women go through. Because everything is based on emotions. And with me, it's maximised beyond anything. Do you know what my mother said? That when she gave birth to me, she felt I wasn't like other babies. She described, I've told you this. When she saw me coming out, she said I wasn't like other babies, all crumpled up and wrinkly. And she said I was looking around. I was very aware of my surroundings. She said, I immediately felt protective of you, extra protective of you. That's why the bond between me and my mother and the police officer who arrested you, when he was saying we might have to separate, you might not, stop you from... Stop you from, what do they call it, when you ban someone from ever seeing someone again. And that's when I started crying. Because I said I can't cope with it. That is like me as a child, someone saying we're going to take you away from your mother and you're never going to see your mother again. I can't cope with it. I'd rather fucking die. I don't swear naturally, but you've put me through so much agony. And I text Juliet and I said, I don't know if I've done the right thing. I don't know if I've put him in danger. But this is what I text. I text Juliet. Well, I can't find the text messages. It's all a bit broken up. But basically, I said that I've got the fear of rejection of my father. And that's similar to Darren, my partner. It's the same thing. And very similar to me not being able to open the text messages from my sisters. I can't cope. I could, for a different reason, I can't look at the text messages from my sisters because of the mental and narcissistic abuse, but there's also the rejection. But definitely with my father, but my father had already rejected me because of the violence when I was a baby 40 odd years ago. So, and then when I was a child, a broken family. And I can't cope with it. I've never been able to cope with pain. So having someone say, we might have to block you from never seeing Darren again, it's like, it is exactly the same as someone saying, you can't see your mum again. I can't deal with all these bereavements. And everywhere I go, I attract nutcases because I'm an empath. And this narcissistic abuse, it kills people. And the fact that I'm still here, but I don't want to fight it. I couldn't give a shit anymore. It never used to make sense, me being a Christian. I'll tell you why. Because even as a child and an adult, this thing of ask Jesus for forgiveness. I have nothing to ask for forgiveness for because I had always had people hurting me, including Christians, even on Christian camp. I had the elders bully me and humiliate me. There were one or two, and some damaged girls who bullied me in Devon. But I thought to myself, I'm going to be the big one and I'm going to enjoy my holiday. That's just what I'm used to. But the pain that I've been carrying is what I'm carrying from my parents. And you made me believe I have a family. And like that first Christmas with your family, you made me think that I had a family. There's so much more pain that people don't see, that even my mother didn't know. Because people don't feel what I feel. I felt so much. I don't remember being a tiny child, toddler, baby, but I know that I've carried that pain all my life. And every time someone hurts me, that's why I have to keep away from people. Because I'm not safe around anyone, any fucking person, even in supported accommodation, because it was a fucking scam. I don't naturally swear. Now you're seeing the real me. You're seeing the real me. But isn't it funny, though? I mean, the woman, you know, that South African woman that victim of satanic ritual abuse, the one who said you and Darren could bring people to Jesus, that 69-year-old well-spoken woman, South African woman in the psychiatric unit who Lewis Freemason put in there, the one who spoke to John Alexander Patterson. And then 5 minutes later, she's listened to all the gossip in the sense she said, are you a benefit fraud? But when people really are seeing your pain and your mental breakdown, they're all standing there laughing at you. Darren's walking away, storming off, leaving me in tears. I'm stabbing myself with a knife. And these fucking criminal bastards, the police, the UK police, are standing laughing. But you've got your mum and your dad, and if that makes you feel proud, Darren, you remember these tears, because they will stick with you forever. My pain will stick with you forever. This will stick with you. Whatever happens to me, it will stick with you. Because every devil will get what's coming to them. Every devil. I've cried out to you. I've cried for lashing out at you, even though you hurt me. Even though you were abusing me, you abused me here. And you don't feel bad. So God, you do whatever you want to do because the damage is done anyway. I've got nothing left to lose. There's nowhere to go when you're at rock bottom. But this is what I said to text Juliet earlier, and I said, is it me? Am I the monster? Because one part of me thinking I'm a monster and the other part is the victim, and I'm going crazy. And she texted me back and she said, it takes courage and strength to speak out, and it's admirable, to say the least. And I just texted her back and I said, thank you. Thank you for understanding. I don't expect her or anyone to understand me because I said, you must think I'm mad, and extremely neurotic. But it's a fact that there is no one out there like me. I've crumbs. You know, you could go all over the earth, and I don't think there's anyone. It doesn't make sense. There's got to be someone out there who could understand me, but for all the Googling, all the searching online, there isn't anyone who understands. All I get is criticism, and I'm just so alone in my pain. It's dangerous for me to be in a relationship, but I need to be loved. Because women just say, well, leave him if he's hurting you. No, I can't. I've got to kill myself. I need to kill myself. As I said, it's exactly the same as like having someone say, we're going to take your mother away from you. My mother and I were attached. She felt attached to me. That's why I had those graphic nightmares about her. A ritualistic one, and one was nightmare about her being dead. When I was a child, this is because I had that ingrained fear. And when I was calling out to her, going into her bedroom, she had a nightmare that I was being taken away from her. because I was calling out Mummy, and I walked into her bedroom and she said, I had a nightmare that you were being taken away from me. She's always felt protective of me. Even my middle sister, I've told you this, Darren, I've told you, you ripped out my heart. You ripped it out. You ripped my heart out. I told you my biggest fear, I couldn't live without my mother. I've told you every fear that everything about me. And she was just my everything. My mother was just my everything. I told Juliet the other night about how when I was in her flat, not long before she died, and she almost had to physically peel me off her and push me out of the door. I was too afraid. I didn't want to leave her. It was bad enough when she sold the house. That's why I ended up in so much clutter and chaos. And I didn't get the help in supported accommodation, no, because they were just a bunch of profit-making idiots in social services, because that's what they all are. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about anyone or anything. But if you really do feel that you could just... I thought when I saw your family that first Christmas, and I thought I got a family. I thought I'm made up now. I'm okay. I'm going to be okay. He's not like anyone else. Everyone's saying he's a good boy. Darren's a good boy. Why would you run away and leave me? Take a caring role and just... Do you know what, Darren? It would have been easy to just murder me. It would have been less painful to get someone. I mean, before you came along, I'd already lost my mother and had that horrendous domestic violence from that creep who came to my mother's funeral, who looked like everyone thought he was such a gentleman, and I could have spent precious time with the people who knew me and my mother, and I never saw them again. And this fucking bastard, this cock, another sociopath looking all... Then he physically chucked me out of his house. Why? Because he thought he had a little bit of muscle. Using and abusing me and making me feel horrible when he's bad and rotten to the core. He even told me that one of his wives... Even my mother said, oh, be careful. I said, oh, I've met this chap. He's been married twice. His wife was at the bottom of the stairs when she took an overdose. Yeah. Then my mother dies, and then I'm saying, cut my wrists. I'm on his doorstep because he's had enough of me and he's thrown me out. You might not have done that to me, Darren, but running away from me, abandoning me, knowing... When I was dealing with these nutcases, whatever you've been saying and whatever you've been doing, you're not taking responsibility. This is why the UK law takes it seriously, because of the hurt and the pain. I'm destroyed. I've trusted you more than I would trust anyone, Darren. And you know that. Because you're not just any Tom, Dick, or Harry. You're different. That's why I've been with you and not anybody else. There was something about you that made me want to be with you, because you're different. You're like me. We're similar. We've got similarities. That's the impression you've always given me. We're so similar. If you really have been abusing me like you have, that would just make you an absolute devil. Because we're too alike. People say we're alike. But thankfully, other people are as baffled as I am about you. Why would you do this to me? Why? Even the bastards are saying that. And you think I want to speak ill of you to anyone else? That makes me look bad as well. So yes, it takes a lot of guts to do what I'm doing right now. It takes a lot of guts. But I'm in so much pain. I'm just forcing myself. I haven't been out for walks. I can't cope at a basic level. My head is all over the fucking show. Well, but don't bother with going to A&E. No, the paramedics say, oh, maybe you'll get help on the 40th occasion. This is actually what they've said to me. And yet, when that stupid little shit called Sherelle Clark and her mother were mugging the elderly, paramedics came to the property. And she came down the stairs and she said, oh, she's a fucking nutcase. Ah. And the paramedics are looking at her, and I didn't even say anything. I said, this is what I have to live with. Well, she does seem a bit upset. The paramedics were looking at her. Dear God Almighty. This is the country and the times we're living in now. The paramedics were looking at her when you can clearly see she's off her head on crack cocaine, mugging the elderly. She's traumatized. She beat up a man. Did you read it? Did you read what the BBC said? Did you read the online news? Did you read the article? While you're criticising me and calling me childish, and I've been with these dangerous criminals. Don't you dare leave me any more voice messages, Darren Stewart Webb, telling me I'm being childish. My mother, I came from a very good upbringing, like you. Very middle class, like you. You know that. You and I are intelligent people. I loved my grandmother. I love my grandmother so much. I was 8 when she died. My elderly, frail grandmother, when old people were really frail, she had a Zimmer. She'd be 118 now. These little shits, Sherelle Clark and Dion Clark, mother and daughter, mugging the elderly. I lived with that creature. She attacked me and I recorded her and the neighbours. You can tell your mum that I will be brave and I will go out on the streets, because I've told Juliet that that's what I'm going to do if it's the last thing I do on this earth. Your mother, who didn't want to know, she's going to get a nasty shock about her good little son. Because I've been the strong one. And you really should humble yourself, because you're not humbling yourself before Yahweh. You're doing the devil's work. You're being arrogant, rude, antagonistic. I don't care about that, though. I care about how you've destroyed me. So don't you leave me any more horrible voice messages of arrogance. Do you want me to play them so people can hear them as a response to my pain? Because I've cried feeling bad about lashing it out at you for what you have done to me. You have not been there for me. I've spoken up for you. My life was in danger, and your friend at the food bank, who's old enough to know better, he's old enough to be my father, and he's got a daughter. And I played him a recording of a criminal on a tag. He lost his wife to cancer. He should know better. I lost my mother to cancer. Juliet is going through cancer treatment, and she was attacked in the street trying to help me. And she said, Steve should not be working at the food bank saying things like that. And that's why he hung up on me. Because like you, he didn't want to hear it. If you and Steve Churchill are Christians, act like it. Otherwise, you're no better than Caroline Stevens. That horrible woman, she contacted the food bank, and I've never even met her. And she's upset people. She's in the truthers community using the name of Yahweh. She talked me out of suicide, prayed for me, then threatened me. Just like that Tina Che from the Independent Advice Network. I am sick to death of it all. All of it. Juliet said I wouldn't waste your... Basically, it's not worth wasting your emotions on... The fact of the matter is I'm plagued. I'm diseased with this pain, so it's not going to make any difference. But she's being a rock for me. And I said, Darren is the only person who can put this right, but he won't. So there's nothing more I can say. I've said it all before anyway. But anyway, that's the state I'm in. I'm glad I've said what I needed to say about all the pain and what exactly it's like. I'm already carrying just baggage of pain over my mother and my father, and it never goes away. It gets worse the older you get. And, that fear of being... The thought of being a lonely old bag lady on a bench. Because, you get those fears when you're a child. You look into the future because you're carrying so much pain. And I thought, even as a child, I thought of the fairy tale wedding. And then I thought, I think I'm going to end up one of those battered wives when I grow up. Thankfully, I haven't been battered. But emotionally, I've been battered. And what the police did to me, well, they're paid to protect me. They left actual bruises on me, actual bodily harm, unlike you, Darren. But you've bruised my heart. You've taken my heart, you and your mother. You used them to abuse me. They're responsible for themselves, those criminal bastards, those police. But you've hurt me. You've hurt me. And I had to get this out. I feel free doing this. The truth shall set you free. When I go out there and I speak out, I've told you how hard it is. You know this. You know what it's like for me. But you sound like you're saying one thing to people and then one thing to me and then another one, and all this gaslighting. It's extremely evil and dangerous. I can't even open the text messages from my sisters. I just physically can't open them. I can't stand that C word, that disgusting language, the C word. But when I text my eldest sister, I said, was Helen Hipperson wrong to say that though? Yes, she's crazy, narcissist stuff going on with her. She's got her issues. I hadn't seen her for all those years, and even her mother said to her that people say she's mad. But her mother was at my sister's wedding, and that's all she had to say. Your sister's a tyrant, and Tiny's a tyrant, and I don't know. I think she wanted to see my reaction. She just looked at me, and right in my face, she said, "Your sisters are CUNTs." I mean, she wouldn't tell me what they'd said because she didn't want to gaslight me. Or, sorry, not gaslight, trigger me, I mean. She didn't want to. But, you just can't do this. Anyway, what's the point? I've said everything I had to say. So there we go. As I said, I said I felt bad doing this, going out of my mind. But you don't think about what you're saying because you don't care. You don't care about the abuse. You don't care about what you've done to me. You just leave me. But you don't care. I just want to die. After my mother died, I just wanted someone to shoot me in the head. I got so many dark thoughts in my head after my mother died. I thought about going to the new hospice, getting one of those imitation firearms and going in there and saying, with a balaclava on, and saying, "Hand me the morphine." Because that's how badly I want to be dead. I had so many bad thoughts going through my head. I've never told anyone that before. That's the first time I've let anyone know that. And I've said it just now. Because it sounds so awful. Why would you go into a hospice with guns? Because I was desperate. I wanted to die. Give me the morphine. The only thing that put me off taking it was that episode of Little House on the Prairie where Albert takes an overdose of morphine, or he becomes addicted to it. And they made the episode to show young people what drugs can do to you. And it was very scary what was happening to him, because he was so addicted to what was happening to him because he needed more of it. And that put me off. But yeah, so there we go. That's it. I just don't think I can get through to you, Darren. I can't get through to you. You don't care. You don't care about me. You'll just leave more arrogant voice messages. That's all you will do. I don't want to speak to you. You've hurt me. Well, you're not helping me. Why do I want to talk to you when you're leaving arrogant voice messages and mocking me even more? And don't make another live stream. Yeah, because you want me to make another live stream. Do you remember all these Disney films? You know, there's a moral to them. You know, the boys, they say, he told us not to tell our ma, because that's exactly what he wanted us to do. That's what you're doing with me, Darren. Oh, and don't make another... Bryony, don't make another live stream, okay? You've made me really angry. Well, I don't know why you're doing this. And you know that doing that is upsetting me, so then I am going to make another live stream. So I'm just going to keep making live streams. So don't do it, Darren. because you're manipulating me. That's coercive control. That is a criminal offence. That's a prison sentence. I don't care about that anymore. I couldn't care less, because if you went to prison for your life, I don't know, maybe you'll die like this. Maybe you'll die with a rotten heart. I don't know. I don't care. You just don't care. The point of the matter is, you don't care what you've done to me. And Juliet finds this, what I'm doing, admirable. Thank you, Juliet. Thank you, Juliet. Because she knows how hard this is for me. Because I thought to myself, oh my gosh, she's going to think I'm nuts. She's a member of the public. I can't tell her too much, because if I do, she's going to run in the other direction and think she's a nutcase. But she hasn't. She gets it. And you're now using Juliet. Or what are you saying to Juliet now, Bryony? You encouraged me. You said she's your friend. Now I am speaking to her. Now I am opening up. You don't like it. Well, whatever. Whatever.